The Wolfman is one of the classic Universal monster movies. Along with Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon, you have pretty much the big five horror icons of the day. All of these movies got sequels, some of them quite numerous, and they often intersected with each other, as they all existed in the same world, other than The Mummy, which had sequels that had nothing to do with the first one. The most common crossovers were between Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman, and it seemed the Wolfman was usually the main character in these. After watching this one, the original, it's not hard to see why, as the movie itself is pretty standard fare for its time, but it's carried over the top by the excellent performance of Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot, who becomes the titular Wolfman. The Talbots are an affluent family led by his father, who has been knighted and lives in a castle in England. Larry had spent the last 18 years of his life living in America, but returns home after his brother dies in a hunting accident to be with his father. He hits on a store clerk in an almost stalkerish kind of way, but it's like the old adage goes, it's only creepy if the guy is ugly. And this is Lon Chaney we're talking about, so she rebuffs him but is clearly attracted, so she agrees to go with him to a gypsy carnival and get their fortune told, as long as her friend can come along. Unfortunately, the fortune teller, played by Bela Lugosi, is a werewolf who sees the mark of the pentagram in the friend's hand, marking her as his next victim. He begs of her to run away, but then he turns into a wolf and kills her. He also attacks Larry and bites him, but Larry beats the wolf to death with his silver cane. In the morning, everyone is pretty confused as Larry's wound is healed completely, leaving only a pentagram-shaped scar. And there's no sign of a wolf because the fortune teller reverted back to human form after death. It's believed that Larry killed the man accidentally, but the townspeople become fearful, and Larry himself eventually becomes quite fearful that he has become a werewolf himself. He tries to do his best to protect the people around him from himself. The movie is tragic and dark, and the great shots of misty moors and forests really add to the atmosphere. This is the kind of film you're happy to watch in black and white because it really wouldn't have worked in color. The film doesn't go too deeply into the science or the folklore of the werewolf, it's just sort of parroting the same line about wolfsbane and pentagrams, so you get a general gist. This really isn't a monster movie, it's more of a thriller. It's spearheaded by some pretty good acting from the general cast, and absolutely excellent acting from Lon Chaney, who does a good job at the tragic nature of the character, but also manages to bring the lighthearted moments to life as well. The movie is not flawless, however. There is one logical issue that's always bugged me, which is why Bela Lugosi's character turns into like an actual wolf, but Talbot becomes a humanoid wolfman. The makeup is good for its time, and to do the transformation they used crossfades, adding more and more makeup as time went on. But for the sake of a plot, and Larry thinking he only killed a regular wolf in the beginning, Bela doesn't look anything like a wolfman, just like, well, a wolf. Perhaps the fact that he wore a pentagram charm for a short period before giving it to the girl, Gwen, is why he only transformed halfway, but who knows? That's always kind of bugged me. Another weird nagging issue is that in the village, where everyone and their mother seems very versed in the werewolf legend, only Larry and the gypsies take the thought seriously. Even after seeing his tracks, which are two-footed and quite a lot larger, they still think it's a regular wolf attacking people. Other than these minor flaws, though, this is an excellent film and a complete classic that I would put at the higher end of the classic Universal movies from the 30s and 40s. And as such, I'll give it a score of 9 out of 10.